So I thought it might be fun to go over my planning for my daily planner. And I thought that it also might be a good opportunity to talk about why I plan, why I make lists, and how it applies to helping me manage my anxiety, because that is one of the main reasons why I like to plan and play with stickers. And one of the main focuses of my Instagram account is just to kind of explain myself in a way that can be relatable to other people, because I know that it's so easy to feel alone in these feelings, especially when sometimes they are pretty extreme. All right. So, first thing I like to do is pick out a washi to kind of do time blocking a little bit, because the first thing I do is block out my days of work, so that way I can mark the hours that I'm working. And I usually use one of the thin ones. Well, I always use one of the thin ones, and I try to stay away from little heart ones just because it's work. I think I might actually use these ones that say hi, hey, hello. That's cute. And I got this ring on Amazon. And I use a hook to hang them. All right, so first step is to find the next open week. Now, one of the things about this planner that is really good, and it's the Simple Self-Care Planner. And I actually got this planner in the Cost box. So once I'm done with this planner, I will be switching over to the ringed version that is in the Simple Self actual shop. So one of the good things is that these planners are not dated. So some weeks I don't do much planning. Some weeks I just plan in my Happy Planner Mini, so that it's just a little bit of a creative outlet for me. And some weeks I plan in all of my planners, and some weeks just in a couple. So one of the things that I am trying to focus on when it comes to planning and this planner community is not to be too hard on myself, because I tend to get, worked up about projects. So I tend to get this determination to get things done and to follow through with them. And sometimes it can cause an overwhelming sense of anxiety, because being overwhelmed is not always the best way to go. So when I have a week where I don't plan in my daily planner, or I don't plan in my wellness planner, I give myself some leeway and some grace, and I just don't do it, because it's creative outlets help me manage my anxiety very much. But I am a mother to 2 days short of a 10-month-old, and I work full time, and I'm also in grad school. So sometimes it's okay to just sit back and kind of not take things too seriously. So like I said, the first thing I do is block off my working hours. And let's see, let's pick some colors. You can probably see, I like to pick 2 colors to use in my planning. These are my favorite ones because they're bright. Let's see, I had this week where I did blue and pink. So I think I'm just gonna, oh wait, you know what? I think I might use gray. I'm gonna use gray and pink. See how that goes. So this week starts off with the 21st, I believe. Yes, so the 21st. So I'll do the dates in pink. The one thing I almost never remember to do is indicate what the weather is. I'm also not very good about filling these things out on the weekends, but the weekends are for relaxation, right? Another thing that I really like about the Simple Self Daily Planner is that before the week starts, you have a week overview. So you can track your habits for the week, and if you have any rewards you want to give yourself. You can track your overall mood, indicating 1 through 5, and it has 2 separate lists. It has a personal list and a work list. And it also has here hours of sleep, but as I mentioned earlier, I have a 10-month-old, so what's sleep? So I'm gonna go ahead and take strips of this washi off screen a little bit. And for this, I just use my fingers. So I start work every day at least by 7:30, sometimes a little easier. So I'm just gonna stick it about 7:30, and I am done working at 3:45, typically. So I'm gonna do that for all the weekdays. You'd think that as a mother of a small baby, multitasking would be something I can do, but haven't quite figured that out yet. So it's hard for me to stick stickers apparently and think of interesting things to say. One of the things that I've found particularly true the older I get is how so many of the things that we go through as young women are similar. So as we grow up, or when we're younger, and especially those high school years that are pretty horrific, at least in my estimation, all these things are happening to our emotions, to our bodies, and some of them aren't that pleasant, and we kind of go through life thinking that we're alone. And these things that we're experiencing are things that only we're experiencing and no one else could possibly understand. And you don't even want to bring it up, because what if the person you're talking to just says, "Ew, you're gross," or "What are you talking about?" in the dreaded words, "You're crazy." So we tend to keep things to ourselves. And it just becomes this unending cycle or circle of unknown commonalities that we have with each other. So that's one of the reasons why I like talking about the hard times, and I like talking about my anxiety and my depression, just because we're not alone, and these feelings we have are not singular. You know, if we talk about them, then we can come to common ground and we can help each other through it. You know, the whole empowering each other. So the next thing I do, and I have actually started writing my work schedule in here, just basic, just writing in when I have meetings, and I tend to do it in a light colored pen, just because work is not, the number one priority for me. So I'm just writing these things in so that I know what my schedule looks like if I look at the day, but those things aren't particularly important. So I found, these are probably from Amazon, but they're pretty cool. Zebra. And they are kind of a cool, funky color. They are pretty light, so if you're looking for something bright and colorful, then these aren't necessarily going to be it, but they do write really well and smoothly, so I like them. My calendar for work is Outlook, but my email and my work calendar are connected on my iPhone, so I just go here. So you can see to this day, Monday, it really isn't that busy, but we will write some of that in. and I'm back. So those are all my work meetings. So like I said, you can definitely see it, and it's kind of a pretty color. You can definitely see the colors kind of changing in some of the words, but it's a little bit dimmer, so that we can differentiate between what's work and what's not. So then what I would do is go through and mark personal things. So let's see, here's Monday. So Monday at 7, I have rehearsal. And so in my life, I have been in over 20 plays. I counted once a few years ago. I haven't counted since. I don't know if my memory can take trying to remember how many plays I've been in. But my first play, I was about 5, and it was a school play when I was in kindergarten. And right now, because of the pandemic, theaters aren't open. Even Broadway is closed, which is so sad. It's sad for people who are in love with being on stage, and it's sad for people who are in love with going to theater to see people on stage performing. So I've done a couple of, I guess we'll say, like online events that have been geared towards the artistic realm, but right now I am doing a monologue driven play that's going to be presented live via Zoom. It's called Kennedy's Children. Like I said, it's monologue based, and it's set in a bar. So it's something that will translate well to being virtual, and it's a great way for some of us to be able to do the thing that we love, acting, and as well, like I said, so that the community can experience some art. So we'll be doing that, and this rehearsal is the second to last rehearsal, so it's probably going to be pretty long, but we got that. And that's actually another thing that I have used as an outlet my entire life to help manage my mental health. And that's because it is something that I really enjoy doing. So it's something that when I'm on stage, I'm happy. It also gives me something else to focus on, especially when it comes to, for example, memorizing lines. You know, it's something to occupy my mind other than those freight train thoughts that go through your head on a circle track that round and round and round it goes, right? And it's hard to even sometimes get a good night's rest when you can't even fall asleep to begin with. So Tuesday, I actually have my cousin coming to visit, and she did tell me when she's coming. I feel like she said 5. I put it in my calendar as 5, so I'm gonna say that's 5. And it's especially important in a time like this to make it a point to connect with people you love, your friends. You know, even if these visits look a little bit different, you know, they might be further apart, and you might be wearing masks, and it's especially hard with small children. I know that younger people aren't necessarily the at-risk demographic, but you know, it would be really sad to see a 10-month-old baby in a hospital on a ventilator if it came to that. So it makes these things kind of scary, and you definitely don't want to get it yourself, even if you might be in a low risk category, because you don't want to give it to somebody else who might not be. And I know that might be controversial, but I consider that to be unfortunate that it's controversial. But, and also, so it's Tuesday. So let's go on to Wednesday. So Wednesday, every Wednesday, I have my mom group. It's called Circle of Moms. And it is a group that women with new moms with babies go to seek support in a safe environment that is run by 2 therapists. So before the pandemic, it was in person. down in Providence. And now that there is a pandemic, we can't meet in person, but we had a couple of weeks off, and then the office started doing virtual visits, which has been super helpful, because obviously somebody who suffers or somebody who experiences anxiety and or depression, this isolation is not easy. Even for people like me who consider myself an introvert, doesn't mean I don't like being around people, but being an introvert means that I am energized by being alone and retrospective and all that kind of stuff. But it kind of made me go deeper into my shell. So the first time that I went out was to bring my daughter Eloise to her 6-month pediatrician appointment maybe, and I nearly had a panic attack in the parking lot. And being agoraphobic isn't necessarily something that I consider myself as having, but it was really hard for me to get over that hump to actually leave the house. One Saturday I promised my husband, if the local donut shop is open, it's like a specialty donut shop, open for orders, I will order and I will go get it. And it was kind of difficult to get there, but I did it. So, sometimes you kind of have to put yourself out there and kind of just blindly take steps out the door to go do something, even though sometimes your mindset tells you not to. It's helpful to just do it. So Circle of Moms, I've been doing it pretty regularly, working from home. So I just take this as, my lunch break and put myself on busy in a meeting at work and attend this meeting. But Wednesday, I also have something else that's kind of fun and self-care. Is 2 weeks ago, I got eyelash extensions. And we're not going anywhere, so, part of me felt like that was kind of silly. But, sometimes self-care can just completely be for yourself, right? So I got these eyelashes and, it made me feel pretty, and I got to sit with the lady who was doing it, who's super, super nice, and she works walking distance from my house, so it's easy to get to. And it was just, a little bit of time in quiet, and it felt really nice. So I'm going for a fill right after the Circle of Moms appointment. So I'll put that in here too. Self-care, like I said, is important, and sometimes it's really hard to, I guess, even almost acknowledge the fact that we need it. But you do, even if it's just, sometimes I consider taking a shower as self-care. It's hard sometimes to get these things in and to make yourself feel good, but you have to try as hard as you can to do that. And then Thursday is our last rehearsal before we go live. So like that. And then the play is actually on Saturday and Sunday. So I guess I can write that in there too, although quite honestly, don't know what time they're at. So I'm gonna just guess and say, I think Saturday is 8 and I think Sunday is 7, which 7 for me is still pretty late. So I'm gonna write here, play, and even though it's Zoom, should I write Zoom in parentheses? I don't think so. So other than, my phone is trying to force an update on me. So other than these two things, those are the only, on Sunday, which is the 27th, not the 26th. See, this is what happens if you're not careful, because there are not two 24s in September. Let me just do a quick little fix here. Okay, and just fix this. So on the 27th, in the wee hours of the early morning, I signed up for a 5K with my mom, my husband, and my dad. So typically me and my dad actually walk. So I'm probably going to be walking and pushing Eloise. One time my dad and I were at the very, very end of the pack because we were walking, and it was a really local, small 5K. And we were so slow that the ambulance, because all these races are required to have emergency services in case anyone needs it, so the ambulance was right on our heels. And it got to the point where it was really awkward. So my dad tried to wave them to go past us, we're fine. And so the ambulance driver sped up a little bit and then slowed down right next to us and asked if we needed help. Which we didn't. Well, maybe we did, but not that kind of help. So, all right. So these are all the actual events, we'll call them, that I have going on. So I started, back during my maternity leave, so earlier this year, once I was cleared to do exercise, my mom and I did this. It's called Yoga with Adriene. And if none of you have heard about her, she's super cute and kind of goofy. And the yoga videos are set in lump playlists. So she creates a new playlist every month. And sometimes they're older videos, sometimes they're newer videos. But she creates playlists every month. And that way you can just go through all the videos one at a time. And in theory, you could start, for example, at the beginning of September, and then you would do the first video of September on September 1st, and so forth and so on. But we started kind of in the middle of the month at the beginning of the year, so we just picked one. Might have been November, I'm not sure, I don't really remember. But for 30 days straight, we did yoga every day. And these videos, they range from 10 minutes to 40 minutes. Some of them are harder than others. Some of them really get your heart pumping. But they're a lot about, she says, do what feels good. So it's not about, twisting yourself into some crazy pretzel or standing on your head. It's kind of about listening to your body, relaxing, focusing on your breathing, and, doing what feels right for your body. And that's really encouraging. So we did it for 30 days straight, and it was great. By the end of the 30 days, like I said, none of the videos were that difficult. Some of them were harder than others, but by the end of those 30 days, my mom and I both found that we were able to do things a lot easier. And we could go into poses for longer and deeper, and we actually felt stronger. And that was such a great feeling. And something that I've realized with my mental health, or with my mind, I guess we'll say, is that sometimes I don't realize how stressed out I am. I have tells instead, so I can't just always recognize that my anxiety is high, or that, maybe I'm feeling a little sadder than normal, but my body has tells. So one of them is clenching my jaw. And one of the things that these videos did for me was to help me recognize that and let it go. Because she would say, relax your body, relax your jaw. And I'd say, oh my goodness, I actually was clenching my jaw, and I didn't even realize that I was doing that. So these videos really helped me get more in tune with my body and feel good about it. Anyone who's listening that has had 1, 2, however many kids, as women, we have, as human beings, a lot of the times we have differing feelings about our bodies, and sometimes they're not always great. But doing these little things for ourselves and realizing how strong we really are can help you appreciate your body and appreciate what it can do. And, giving birth to a baby, I actually had an emergency C-section. So, that was a little traumatic, but, just the fact that I could go through that and come out of the other side is pretty amazing. And I lose sight of that a lot, but, kind of through reflecting and through journaling and especially this journal that kind of helps you focus on those things, it's really helping me understand myself a little bit better. So we started today. Today was day 1 because we did those 30 days a couple months ago, and I think we might have done like 15 to 20 more days after that, but then we fell off and we stopped doing it, and both of our bodies can feel that. So today was day 1. So tomorrow will be day 2. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that one of my habits is to continue with yoga. Another couple of things that make me happy are I like reading. I used to write a lot, but those are kind of things that fell by the wayside. So especially being in grad school, I have a lot of reading to do. So reading for pleasure isn't always a top priority. But again, like I've said before, self-care is important. So where's that time? Can you find it? Can you use it? Can you ask for help? And I know that during this pandemic, it's hard to ask for help anyway. But during a situation like we find ourselves in, asking for help, doesn't just become hard. It becomes difficult to even figure out. Do you ask people to get tested? Do you just wing it? Do you just hope that you're gonna be okay, or do you not ask for help? But unfortunately, a lot of us are suffering right now because we're not meant to do this alone. We're not meant to raise children on our own. We're not meant to be alone. So it's important to find ways to connect to people. Like I said, even if it's a little distant, it's important to find your tribe, and if that means you have to create a little circle of individuals where you all trust each other and you all feel good about the precautions that you're taking, then you need to do that. And it took me a little while, but finally I did that, and finding a little bit of normalcy in my life has really helped work through this pandemic. So I'm gonna put in here read for pleasure. And see, I can't spell and talk at the same time. And we can check in at the end of the week to see if I've ever done this, if I did it or not. So the next things that I would go through here and do would be, I would kind of look at my week and see the different things that I want to do personally, and whatever I need to do for work. So you might probably notice, but I wrote over here annual event. That's actually a work thing that I have to get done by Wednesday. So I'm gonna put that over here. And then for personal to do, I'm just gonna keep up with Instagram. And obviously now that I'm doing this video, I'm gonna have to edit it. And just as a way to kind of track my social media, I'm actually just gonna write this here to post to Instagram. So once I am done kind of writing out, and I don't necessarily write at the first moment of me filling out these pages. I don't necessarily write out all the to-dos or my top goal or anything like that right away. Sometimes what I do is, if I know for sure there's something I have to do, like there are chores that I try to do every day. So like one day is bathroom, the next day is the living room or the kitchen. So I would go through and I would write those. And I would also typically, by Wednesday, catch up on chores. So that's one of the great things about lists for me, is that if, given something simple like chores, they start to add up. It kind of becomes just a jumbled mess in your head. But if you write them all out, it actually ends up seeming like a little less. It's not as crazy or overwhelming, because a lot of the times everything jumbled up in your head, it feels like it's a lot, it feels like it's overwhelming, but by the time you write it down, it's not that bad. So the 22nd is actually Eloise's 10-month, so I've been doing photos. See, I can't spell when I'm I can't spell when I'm talking at the same time. I'm just gonna pretend that there's an N in there. And everyone else, please pretend the same. So, you know, that's one of the reasons why I like lists and it helps with my anxiety. But I also kind of in here, I like to just put a couple of stickers in places, and I don't go too crazy about it, because that's also kind of something I do while the week is happening. So, you know, tomorrow night I might go through the rest of the week and then say, oh, you know, is there something else that I know that I have to do? And now this 10 moth photos is bothering me. That's why it's perfect, right? So I'll, you know, is there anything that I know now that I have to do during the week, and I'll write it out. And I also might do a little bit more decorating in my planner if time permits. And then especially on days where it ends up that I don't have as many to-dos, and it opens up a little bit of space. So at that point, I might, you know, go through the stickers that I have, and, you know, maybe fill up some of that space that ends up not being taken up by my lists. So, you know, stick some extra stickers in there. And this is just, you know, I love playing with stickers. So one of the best parts about finding this planner community is that I have, you know, people to share that with now. And one of the favoriteest things that I have learned within this planner community is this concept of cutting stickers and, you know, and creating symmetry on on the pages. So like I said, I'm going to be doing my absolute best, to be doing yoga every day again. So when I'm done with this video, one of the things that I don't know why this sticker doesn't want to do what I want it to do. One of the things I'm going to do when I'm done recording is to go through and add yoga to every single one of these lists. And one of the life improvements that I'm trying to accomplish is to make my bed every day, including weekends. So another thing I'm going to go through is make bed. Because, you know, that's the whole thing, right? The accomplishment of being able to check things off lists. That's, you know, another great reason to even create the lists. I so strongly believe in empowerment. Empower each other. So, you know, that's about it. Like I said, after this, I'm gonna go through and write some more to-dos. Maybe I'll come up with a couple more habits that I want to accomplish for this week. Do a little bit more decorating so it's fun to look at. And you know, that's about it. Once I am done, hopefully at the end of this week, I'll do a quick flip through to show you what it ends up looking like after it's all done. All right. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel as I continue to work out how to exactly make videos.